We're about to go live on air, y'all. It's a Good Life Radio Show with me, Eileen. Welcome to the show. Talking motivation this week. Are you motivated for the week? Did you eat too much? Oh. Good morning, and welcome to the Good Life with me, Eileen. We are here on Motivation Monday, and we're here to open your mind. We are living the good life right here on the Good Life Radio Show, opening your mind to living differently in the world with love, tolerance, compassion, and understanding for ourselves and hopefully everyone else. We do that right here weekdays at 11 a.m. Make sure you tune in. You never want to miss a show. Why? Because it's the good life. But if you do, you can always go online at TGLRADIOSHOW.com. That is TGLRADIOSHOW.com and catch up. I am so excited about this week and even just honestly about our future. We have so many new segments. We have so many new and fun and interesting little things that are going to be taking place during the show. I promised you a week ago that we would be having our regular affirmation. So at the beginning of the this first segment, you will hear our first Monday morning affirmations or Motivation Monday affirmations, and we'll have it each and every day with a different set of affirmations for that day, just to kind of get your mind right, to get you in the mood, just to get you in a different thought pattern in the event that the day wasn't going the way that you wanted. And so with that being said, there's a theme to each and every week. So this week's theme is motivation. Yes, we need a little bit of it. Sometimes you have it, sometimes you don't. Sometimes you just need to be inspired. I know that's how I am. And after this long weekend, we've had so much fun. We've eaten so much. Do we need motivation to get up, to move, to get busy, maybe to get active, to start exercising, whatever it is for you? Let's get that motivation. And so I was researching motivation, and there are 6 key ideas behind theories of motivation, because I was like, some people are motivated by money, some people are motivated by love, some people are motivated, some people just have it kind of in them, and I'm like, how do and why and all. I'm like, ugh. Okay, so I found an article from verywell.com, and it was very interesting. They say researchers have developed a number of theories to explain motivation. Each individual theory tends to be rather limited in scope. However, by looking at the key ideas behind each theory, you can gain a better understanding of motivation as a whole. So we're going to go through each of the 6. Motivation is the force that initiates, that guides, maintains goal-oriented behaviors. It's what causes us to take actions, whether to grab a snack or to reduce hunger or enroll in college to earn a degree. The forces that lie beneath motivation can be biological, social, emotional, cognitive, and nature, all of these kind of things. So we're trying to figure out what is the deal behind motivation. So I'm going to break it down into the 6 points that verywell.com gave us. And so the first one is your instinct theory of motivation. Some things it's just instinctual, and that's why you're motivated by it. It's just kind of in you. That's what they say. They say, according to instinct theories, people are motivated to behave in certain ways because they are evolutionary programmed to do so. So an example of this, because you're like, huh? In the animal world, there's seasonal migration. These animals do not learn to do this. It's instead an inborn pattern of behavior. Instincts, motivation, some species to migrate in certain times of year. And we know this because we see them passing, through New Orleans to go to Florida. We're like, oh, I wish I was with you, but nonetheless, those are instinctual motivation. That's the theory behind it, where it's just kind of innately in you, where you're like, I'm motivated to get up. Like, let's just say after Thanksgiving dinner. There are some people who are instinctually motivated to get up and clean because they have OCD. They have others who aren't. And the people who have OCD and want to clean, they're like, well, why can't they get up? It is instinctively, it is in you. It's not in me. Like, you can't get mad because I want to watch the game. Like, you know what I'm saying? But some people, they're like Thanksgiving conversations and all this. Some people are instinctual with certain drives and passions and motivations. Some people aren't. And you can't be mad at somebody because they just aren't instinctually I can't even get the word out this morning, instinctually motivated the way that you are. So do know that there are differences. Number 2, incentive. There are incentive theory of motivation. The incentive theory suggests that people are motivated to do things because of external rewards. Imagine that. For example, you may be motivated to go to work each day for why? The monetary reward, because you want to be paid. Show me the money, right? Well, that's why you do it. And you're hearing this voice in here. This is Henry Bolden. He is here for the entire day because I told you we have brand new segments, and we have a surprise for you for our last segment of today. It's something that, well, I'll talk about that when we get there. So you just really have to stay tuned for the entire show. Going back to instinctive theories, behavioral learning concepts such as association and reinforcement play an important role in this theory of motivation, which is what we do for our children. Mm-hmm. If this, then that, or, and we do, kind of by punishment standards sometimes, if this, they have incentive to do it because they don't want to get punished. We're very familiar with these types of motivations, so that comes a little bit easier to understand. They have the next one, which is drive theory of motivation. And I didn't even know that they were all this motivations, which is why we need to understand, because sometimes if one isn't working, maybe we can click into another, which is why I'm trying to describe these for you. Drive theory of motivation. According to the drive theory of motivation, people are motivated to take certain actions in order to reduce the internal tension that is caused by unmet needs. Y'all want me to repeat that? Yeah, I need to. The drive theory of motivation are people are motivated to take certain actions in order to reduce the internal tension that is caused by an unmet need. For example, you might be motivated to drink a glass of water in order to reduce the internal state of thirst. You may be motivated to drink a glass of water because you had too much the night before, and that is painful the next day. This theory is useful in explaining behaviors that have strong biological components, such as hunger or thirst. The problem with the drive theory, this is what they say, is that these behaviors are not always motivated purely by physiological needs. For example, people often eat when they're not really hungry. So you have, your little tidbits with each of these, but I wanted to give you the different theories of motivation. So number 4 is arousal theory of motivation. Arousal theory of motivation, which goes to say, the arousal theory of motivation suggests that people take certain actions to either decrease or increase levels of arousal. You got that? No. People take certain actions to either decrease or increase levels of arousal. So, for example, when arousal levels get too low, a person might watch an exciting movie or go for a jog. When arousal levels get too high, on the other hand, a person may look for ways to relax, such as meditating or reading a book. So, sometimes when you're hyped up, you're like, oh, I need to chill out. Or, you're too low. You're like, oh, I need some energy. I just haven't had enough. You might go exercise or jog or do whatever that is for you that kind of gives you that burst of energy. So those arousal methods, those energy burst. And so they say, according to that theory, we're motivated to maintain an optimal level of arousal, although this level can be based on an individual or situation. So 5th, 2 more, y'all ready? These are the breakdowns of motivation. Humanistic theory of motivation. I was like, Humanistic theory of motivations are based on the idea that people also have strong cognitive reasons to perform various actions. You're like, what? This is famous, right? This is famous, which is why I was like, let me break these down. It's famously illustrated in Maslow's hierarchy of needs. And we've all heard about those, which presents different motivations at different levels. They say first, people are motivated to fulfill basic biological needs for food and shelter, as well as those for safety, love, and esteem. Once the lower level needs have been met, the primary motivator becomes the need for self-actualization, or the desire to fulfill one's individual potential. So they're saying once people have their basic needs met, then they can go on to those other things because those needs are so necessary, which brings up an entirely different conversation that I want to get into with Henry. But I'm going to read the last one first and then. Okay, last but not least, the expectancy theory of motivation. The expectancy theory of motivation suggests that when we are thinking about the future, we formulate different expectations about what we think will happen, which is so true. Woulda, shoulda, coulda, how can I, what, who. When we predict that there will most likely be a positive outcome, we believe that we are able to make that possible future a reality. This leads people to feel more motivated to pursue those likely outcomes. So, did y'all get that? When we formulate different expectations, when we think it can happen, we are more likely to actually put one foot in front of the other to be motivated to do it. But the theory proposes that motivations consist of three key elements. That's balance, instrumentality, and expectancy. And I was like, what? Okay, here we break it down. Balance refers to the value people place on the potential outcome. I'm going to say that again. The value you place on the potential outcome. Because I could see it as one thing and you could see it as totally something different. So things that seem unlikely to produce personal benefit have a lower valence, while those that offer immediate personal rewards have a higher valence. And in this day and age, y'all know we are all about that immediate thing. I don't even like to wait for the microwave. I put 2 minutes, I'm like, it's still on 30 seconds? Like, what is going on? Seriously, that's the sad part. You walk away, you come back, you're like, it's still working? Yes, it is. Instrumentality refers to whether people believe that they have a role to play in the predicted outcome. If the event seems random or outside the individual's control, people will feel less motivated to pursue that course of action. If the individual plays a major role in the success of the endeavor, however, people will feel more instrumental in the process. So if you feel like you're a part of the process, you are more likely to be motivated. So all of our business owners out there, this is for you, these little 2 cents. If you're, the people you work with, your employees, your friends and family, if they feel more a part of the process, they are more motivated to push the project forward. Just a little FYI this morning, we giving all motivation in every angle. And last but not least, expectancy is a belief that one has the capabilities to produce the outcome. So you need to be their cheerleader and let them know that they can do it, even if they don't think that they can do it. If people feel like they lack the skills or knowledge to achieve the desired outcome, they will be less motivated to try. People who feel capable, on the other hand, will be more likely to try to reach that goal. While no single theory can adequately explain all human motivation, looking at the individual theories can offer greater understanding of the forces that cause us to take action. So in reality, there are likely many different forces that interact to motivate behavior, and these were just a couple. I wanted to kind of open your mind to that because, so many times we may get caught up in maybe one motivation, which y'all like to, I don't want to say y'all, but a lot of people get caught up in the incentive theory of motivation. And when it's not incentivized anymore, then you're like, well, I can't get them motivated. Well, there are other ways to motivate people and yourselves. You just have to open your mind to living differently in the world and look for a different perspective. And speaking of a different perspective, we're going to have Henry Bolden on the other side of the break give his perspective on motivation, because you already know how he thinks and he likes to drop some great nuggets on us. And after that, you have to stay tuned for the entire show, because our last segment has been something that's been in the works and I've kind of shied away from doing it, but you know how the Lord works. He'd be like, I told you. No, I'm just joking. So we're going to have the first Monday of every month will be prophetically speaking. And so we're going to have conversation, just about, there's a lot of people going through different shifts and different understandings and having different things and what is going on with me. And I've had lots of these conversations. So I think I have the perfect person to have this conversation with. And it is Bishop Henry Bolden in here. So we are going to have a nice motivating conversation for each and every one of you out there. But before I do that, I did promise y'all that I was going to go into our affirmations. So I have affirmations for each and every day. So we will start with Motivation Monday. I hope you enjoy. I am a wealth magnet. I am receiving more money today and every day. I am financially thriving. I choose to fully participate in my day. I am rich. We're not live. There are unlimited ways that monies are coming to me now. I love my life. I have everything that I need. Oh, shoot. You like that?
I love that. Hi, I'm Henry Jolly, your relationship expert.
Yay! Did y'all like my motivations? I sure hope so, because, y'all were listening to commercials. Did y'all like my motivations? I hope so. Yay! That was my first day doing them. And I just made them. In the room. Oh, goodness. How was y'all's turkey day? I have to remember which one I have it on. Is that Facebook or Instagram? Y'all, I don't know very well. What are you looking at over there? Hi. How was your Thanksgiving?
Everything was great. I went to Ruth Chris by myself. And
that must have been nice. I went to Ruth Chris by myself. Okay, now.
Always do that, though.
I did not know.
Good morning, everybody. Listen, tune in to WBOK. You don't want to miss this.
You have to.
We're going to be dealing with motivation and what actually motivates you. What validates your actions. What stimulates you. What gives you the stamina to keep moving and pressing toward your goal in spite of the obvious odds, in spite of how daunting the challenge might be. What motivates you? What are you seeing internally that gives you the drive to persevere in spite of all of the very present variables? And so tune in. You're going to learn a whole bunch about, hello, good morning, everybody. What motivates you? We'll be in New Orleans this weekend. Great. Hey, Pastor, how are you? How are you? God bless all of you. So we're going to be dealing with motivation. All right, so we're getting ready to go on air, so I see you all later. Bye. They're still joining. You can come and you can hang out and watch.
That's him. Are y'all hearing his commercial?
Mine? Oh, good.
Look, I put it up so they could hear it.
That's right.
And now he has to come over here, y'all.
Good morning.
He's gonna come into the picture. He is. Oh, there he is.
Good morning. Good morning to you. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Sister Washington, I love you. So tune in. So tell everybody, 12:30 a.m. Tune in. We're going to be talking about motivation. I got this incredible co-host over here. Yeah, you see?
He's about to come over here.
I can't. I got to
watch. You about to be right here. You can play around if you want to.
It's too. That's all on the angle.
Get on this side of the mic.
Let's take that pipe thing. See,
You
that's
can
what
go
it
here.
is. You gotta turn yours a little. All right, we got technical difficulties. We're trying to figure it out.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, and welcome to The Good Life with me, Eileen. We are here on Motivation Monday, and we're here to open your mind. We are living the good life right here on WBOK 1230 AM. We are opening minds, living differently in the world with love, tolerance, compassion, and understanding for ourselves and hopefully everyone else. We do that right here weekdays at 11 a.m. Make sure you tune in. I am so excited about today's show because we have new segments, we have new little drops, we have new all kinds of things. So you'll hear it throughout the show. It's not like so new that you'll be like, oh my gosh, what happened to her? It's not that much. But we are going to have so many fun things going on throughout the month, and they will be, repetitive. Like, just to give you an idea, like, do y'all remember Everything Else? She's the comedian. She will be here the first Tuesday of every month, so she will be here tomorrow for Relationship Tuesday, so that'll be fun. We have also a new segment called, I don't even know.
Prophetically
It'll be on,
Speaking.
yeah, but that's today.
Yeah.
But on Wednesday, we have a brand new segment called Barbershop Talk.
Yeah.
So Case Closed Barbers will be in the studio the first Wednesday of every month, and we will be having Barbershop Talk. You ever want to be a fly on the wall in the barbershop and like kind of hear what was going on? Well, guess what? We're going to do that the first Wednesday of every month. Yeah, you know, sometimes you just want to hear that like barbershop talk. I've always wanted to be on a fly. Well, I mean, I do get my hair. But anyway, so nonetheless, that'll be fun.
Yeah.
We do have some new segments on Thursdays, like life hacks. I love life hacks. I love when you like show me something new or little techie things or whatever, like something that can make my life easier. Life hacks. We're going to have those on Thursdays. And also, we are starting a book club. So I'm really excited about that. So the first Friday of every month, we will be discussing a new book. But this one, obviously, y'all don't have the book yet. So we are going to be discussing what books we like, and we're going to choose one right here on air. So we'd love for you to like give your 2 cents and follow us on social media as to what books you all are interested in reading. We would love to know. So please go on TGL Radio Show, TGL Radio Show, at TGL Radio Show, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, and let us know what books interest you, because we want to know, and we will be reading them. I already have a friend I've reeled into doing it with me. And I do want to welcome our new partnership with RTA. So they will be here the first Friday of every month to give us an update of what's going on in the city and how they are really growing in our community. Because, you know, sometimes we know these entities that are here, but do we really know them? So we have a special segment called We Are RTA. So we're going to get to know a lot of, you know, their partners who they work with each and every day. Some of the guys have been working there for years. It's like generational, and they really do take care of us. So it'll be fun getting to know them. And who knew that RTA has a Katrina story too? I was like, we all have a Katrina story, but they do too. So we'll be having lots of fun with them, you know, for the next couple months, and they will be here the first Friday of every month just to like get to know us and for us to get to know them. So, Henry.
Yes.
I need some motivation.
Yes.
I had a long week. I was redoing the show. I have new segments, and I was like, you know, I'm motivated to do this. But then, you know, Thanksgiving came. I probably, you know, had 2 sit-downs, and then I took a nap. You know, the itis kicked in, and, you know, then I'm like, oh, I got to get up and go to work this week.
Right.
And, you know, it's this time of the year where everybody, you know, gets kind of into their holiday spirit and doesn't really want to, like, finish stuff. But you still have to close your books.
Yeah.
You still have to do your statements. You still have to pay your bills. You still have to do all this stuff. How do we get motivated and, you know, still trying to keep your waistline, you know, at least proportionately, at least so your pants button, you know what I mean? Or your coat reaches to the other one. How do we stay motivated? And honestly, speaking to the I can't get it out. Speaking to the article that I just spoke of with regard to, you know, the drive theory, you know, people are motivated to take certain actions to reduce an internal tension that is caused by unmet needs. Yeah. I saw you kind of like perk up when I talked about that. So I'd love to have your 2 cents on that, please.
Well, one of the primary keys, particularly for being motivated, is that you must always maintain your regiment that are going to produce the perceived results. Every day, and I say, and I counsel people, I tell them all the time, that you have to orientate yourself on why this matters to you. I have to get up absolutely every day with an unwavering, unbridled focus. I have to have my vision in my line of scope at all times. No matter what kind of obstructions try to arise, I have to maintain my visual connection. If I'm going to be motivated, I have to maintain my internal visual connection, because if I focus on all of the elements that are around me, it's very easy to resign. It's more easier than I would care to admit to anybody.
Right.
That it's awfully easy to consider resigning.
It's so easy
to scrap it if you don't maintain this internal imagery. Every person that's listening to me, you are what you see on the inside. Literally, it's what's governing your life. It's not what's on the outside. It's what's on the inside. By the time you see it, I've seen it 100 times already. That's why you're so excited for me. But it's not that I'm not excited. It's just that this is your first time seeing it. Right. When you see it in the result phase. But I see it every day. and you have to question yourself. The question you have to ask yourself is, when was the last time you saw it? Because too many people allow too much space, too many gaps, too much lapse in between their visualization of their dream, their goal, their ambitions, and the things that they want to go after. And the more you allow that time lapse to be prevalent in your life, then mentally it's no longer relevant to you.
Wow.
If it's relevant to you in your pursuit, then you're going to think about it every day. The Bible says that the thoughts of the diligent tend only unto plenty, which means that when I lock my line of sight in on what I want, I only permit thoughts that are going to nurture, that are going to build, and that are going to really create for me the environment to produce everything that I want. If you're not talking the way I'm talking, then we have no... it's not that I'm rude, it's not that I'm arrogant, but I only have people around. I can't afford spectators, I only need contributors at this season. So I have to have a locked in line of sight on what I want. If I'm going after a contract or a deal, then I can't afford to entertain any other thoughts. Anybody that's presenting to you any other thought or train of thought other than where you're going, they are counterproductive.
I'm listening to you now, and
Yes.
I'm by no means special, but I think we all go through these things as well. And what I find to be the one that gets me the most are the distractions.
Yeah.
Where it's somebody needs help. Or, oh, I really need to make this happen. And then, like, your whole day is gone. And you're like,
Wow.
I now tomorrow I have double, or just sidetracked. And you don't feel like the lack of motivation occurred, but I really do find that in that moment of being distracted, that's like at the fork in the road, because you can continue to be distracted so easily by little things, let me borrow this or let me do that or whatever. And then you're helping, and then you're taking away from yourself. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't help other people, but it shouldn't necessarily always have to be to a detriment to your motivation. Yes?
Yes. Absolutely.
Because they're kind of in that, I hate to say it, but not really, because it is what it is. I don't hate to say it because I'm going to say it because I really don't have a problem saying it. But like, that's what the devil does. Like, he throws distractions, and the distractions aren't what you think that it's going to be. It's not going to be, some major catastrophe in life. It's just a simple redirection. Yeah. And it could be that, we ate all this stuff for Thanksgiving, and you have been, you're like, oh, I'm fasting this week or whatever, and then your best friend. And it's not intentional. Your best friend is like, oh, girl, I had the worst day. Like, can you come have drinks with me, and let's go eat? And you're like, but I'm fat, I'm trying to, oh, well, I'm just going to go do this. Well, But look how it started, right? Well, or your boy's like, oh, we not, I'm going to the gym, I'm doing whatever. And then you're like, oh, well, we all going to somewhere you shouldn't be, or whatever it is. And, you start, it's a distraction. And then it just starts rolling.
Well, here's a couple of issues with that.
Tell me.
I think it starts with you. You have to make very clear that you orientate and communicate to everybody in your sphere or in your immediate circle what your goals are and the timelines to which you have intentions for those things coming to pass. So in other words, if that premise is what it is, and it is, then anybody who distracts you is now an intentional distractor. And you have to watch, because there are people around you who will have a lack of respect for what you're reaching for. Anybody around you who is not invested in you or your future, they always come up with these little futile things. And that's why you hear the things like, well, come go with me here, or can I do this? As opposed to them saying, hey, you stay doing what you're doing.
Girl,
I'm gonna pick up the kid for you today.
Right.
Or I'm gonna order dinner for you. I don't want you to move. I want you to stay where you are. Anybody who is a distraction at this stage, you have to consider them a purposeful distractor, either because they do not value your intention or because you fail to properly communicate the parameters or the boundaries that you need to have in place for this space of time to accomplish what you're going after at this season.
I'd absolutely agree with you. And,
yes.
And I can't speak for everybody else out there, but for me, it was probably, it's a mixture of the two.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, me not being, them undervaluing me. Shall I ever do that? But me, but
please don't undervalue me, whoever you are.
But we allow it, you know, and I have allowed it before, and it's because I didn't know my worth.
Yes.
But now that I'm clear,
yeah,
everyone around me needs to be clear, and we are a motivational force.
Absolutely.
And we're all going to be working in the same direction. I'm going to help you. You're going to help me. And if it's not a mutual motivational force of energy moving us, propelling us forward, then what is it doing? It's pulling you back.
Absolutely.
And so you have to have that motivation to continue. And also, like you said, for the second piece, not creating that yourself or creating those boundaries.
Absolutely.
There are times where to be motivated, like I'm y'all real talk today, where you have to have real conversations to be motivated. Like, nope, this is the new reality. And not just, like you said, not just for yourself, but tell the people who you are interacting with, this is what's going on with me.
Absolutely.
And so, you know, I'd love for you to be supportive. That would be great. And then kind of watch and see. Because they're going to show you their stripes.
Yeah. Well, and the Bible talks about it. It makes some very poignant issues relative to company or people that you're around. It talks about in one instance is that we are not to make alliances or friendships with angry men, lest you learn their ways. So it begins to show us the profound effect that the wrong company can have on your life. It creates these counterproductive spaces for you. Anybody who makes it easy for you to be less than you were created to be is actually more detrimental than you can even articulate.
Wow.
I have to be around, you know, there are people in my life now that says, you know, hey, listen, you need to get on this. You need to be moving now. You don't have time to do this. You don't have time to waste. So we generally shy away from those kind of people because they hold us too responsible for what we've said was a revelation that we've gotten.
Right.
So that's why you got to be careful who you share your vision with, because you share with the right people, they're going to hold you accountable to it. You said you were going to do this. You said this was going to happen. So why are you slacking off? So we generally shy away from those kind of people when they are really there to be instrumental in us reaching the next stage of our life. Iron sharpens iron. I got to be around people that are provoking me to have a cutting edge all the time. People who see your potential and say, now you can do better. That was good, but you can do better than that. So you have to surround yourself with people who have your best interests at heart at all times.
At all times.
At all times.
And here's the best part.
Yeah.
They're going to change.
Absolutely.
Did y'all hear that?
Absolutely.
They will change because a reason, a season, a lifetime. And, you know, there's me, you know, sometimes loyal to a fault where, you know, you really feel like there are certain people who, they're going to be with me. They may not.
Yeah.
And it being okay that they're not, because they're going through their growth pattern and you're going through yours, and accepting that it was here to learn something from them, but that time for them to be in your life has passed.
Yeah.
Whether it be a friendship, a relationship, you know, a romantic relationship, or even, you know, people who are in work situations. There are a lot of time people who are in work situations to grow, to learn a skill, to learn a trade, to learn something, and maybe get stuck in there for too long and aren't really able to reach their potential because of their loyalty to this company and not maybe want to step out on faith to be an entrepreneur.
Right.
And it's not easy.
Right.
But it's definitely, it may be your time. It may be your season. And maybe you're listening to this radio show right now for that reason. And maybe this is your motivation, that sometimes motivating ourselves, and I have found this to be one of the ones for me, motivating yourselves entails looking at the people around you to release the, I don't want to say weight, just the negativity per se, that they may not even intentionally being delivering to you, I should say. You know, but it is heavy. And so for you to feel motivated and to feel lighter, you really do need to release that load.
Yeah.
And so I never know where our conversations are going to go, because we start the week with it. But I think this is a great perspective, because everybody thinks when you talk about motivation, oh, yes, let's get you ready. But we're talking about a core fundamental step in motivation. And to ever feel like you're motivated, you have to get rid of the nonsense that's around you.
Absolutely.
And it doesn't always seem like nonsense. I mean, it generally doesn't.
Right.
It's just like, oh, but I hang out with them, or what are you doing? Or even if it may not be a person, it may be a habit. Mm-hmm. It could be social media.
Yeah.
It could be playing games. It could be whatever it is. It could, y'all know those games on Candy Crush and all that other stuff. It could be a game that's distracting you. It could be whatever it is for you. It could be an addiction.
Yeah. But
if it's distracting you and it's not motivating you, let's get our mind right and let's start moving into 2018 and releasing those burdens.
Yeah.
Henry?
And I think the crux of this, we cannot discard the fact that above all else, you yet have to maintain self-motivation. Mm-hmm. Because there are going to be instances where your current support group may disperse. And people that started out with you, they may not necessarily continue the journey with you. And if your whole motivation was invested in the presence of people, then you're going to be miserable at their absence. And consequently, that misery causes you to abandon it. But I want to say to people who are listening and who are watching me today, just because they don't support it does not give you a reason to abort it. Just because they don't support it does not mean you have to abort it. Stop building your life, your dreams, your ambitions, things you want to accomplish, contingent upon a consistent degree of support. I'm telling you, please hear me. If you don't hear anything else I say, people will come and they will go. People will tell you from the onset, oh, I'm going to be there when the road gets tough. As soon as the road gets tough, they get going. And so you have built everything you are expecting out of life on people. Things change. People die. People move on. People no longer like you. People decide they don't want to die. Yeah. And so you can't allow the presence of people or the lack of the presence of people to cause you to vacillate in what you want. It's still going to happen. God is too powerful of a God to ever allow your destiny to be in the hands of fickle people.
He will complete what he started.
He's going to complete it with or without them. There's no better feeling than getting up every day knowing that what's going to happen in your life is going to happen with or without people. At that point, they can no longer taunt you by saying, well, I'm going to leave and I'm going to take my stuff. Well, take your stuff.
Bye.
There's 1,000 people that are ready to jump in your position right now.
Here's one, and we've heard this from so many people in so many ways, but if someone wants to walk out of your life, let them go.
Worst thing you can do is grab them by the ankle and they drag you across the floor while they're trying to. If you beg them to stay, you're going to have to beg them to stay all of your life.
Right. I'm like, if somebody wants to leave, let them go. And here's even more to that. If somebody's walking out of your life, you can look at it from one or two ways, because perspective is everything. Yeah. Somebody's walking out. There's about to be a huge change in your life for the better. Think about it. Yeah. Because it's like it's a breakthrough moment. Whether there has to be another level. Yeah. I don't know what it is. Yeah. But I know the promises that I've been given, so I know that it has to be better than what's in the past, because every time it has gotten better. There's been a lesson learned that has prepared me for something else. So if somebody or something is walking out of your life, let them go. And it's so many times we look, and I say something. You might get in a car accident, or something like that, and you're like, but you may get what you want. And it may not be immediate. You may be like, but it may be 6 months from now. It may be whatever the situation is. But just be grateful for where you are, because you are always in the right place. You're always where you're supposed to be. And so if that person is leaving, then guess what? You're supposed to be right there. Yeah. Well, and let me say this to you, those who are listening, those who are watching. Your future is way too big to ever have to beg anybody to be a part of it.
Your future is way too gigantic.
Way
It's
too
huger than you even
galactic.
can grasp at this moment. I'm telling you,
Interplanetary.
take it from me personally. Let me tell you, whenever God moves people or persons out of your life, from my experience and just from my evaluation, he always replaces them with people of a higher caliber. And sometimes you are holding yourself to mediocre levels because you are so addicted and have this needy addiction to people, and you feel like it's going to crumble without them. No, it's going to flourish more without them than it would have as long as they were there. Because people have
the
the
biggest
wrong
reason
motives.
why. Time.
Yeah.
They're like,
Time.
I spent so much time with them. So,
Yeah, absolutely.
you want to spend more time with them?
Well, God makes up for that. Because you can say, well, I spend so much time, I lost so much. What God does is he'll give you what you desired in like a quarter of the time now. So it's not like you lost any time, because he'll redeem the time on your behalf. So stay motivated. Get up and do something huge. Let me say that to you again. Get up and do something huge today. Do something, make plans for something that is so far out of the norm for you that it demands that God responds to you with all the resources of heaven.
I have a great one.
Yes.
Motivation.
Yeah.
Expect a miracle.
Yeah.
I have nothing like a miracle that motivates me. A miracle, yes. Expect a miracle, and that's exactly what we're going to do. We are going to expect a miracle, and we're going to talk about a couple miracles when we get back on the other side of the break.
Yes.
I have been talking about having this segment for a long time behind the scenes, and true story. Talking about motivation, I have people who told me to not have this segment on air. They're like, people are going to think you're crazy. They're not going to know what you're talking about. Well, that's the whole point, to have conversations, is to open people's mind to living differently in the world. And it is a topic that people are a little bit hush about, but when you live it every day, I don't feel like I should have to hide who I am for someone else. We're all here for a reason. We're all here for a purpose. And they have more people who are living with these type of experiences in their life who aren't talking about it. So it's nice to know that you're not alone. So we will be back with our brand new segment, Prophetically Speaking, with Bishop Henry Bolden and myself, Eileen. So stay tuned. This will be interesting because I have not planned this. We have no idea what will come out of our mouths. We'll be right back.
Hey everybody, thanks for hanging out with us for this segment. We're talking about motivation, and I could talk about that the rest of the night.
Y'all, Lee put the affirmations
so just
back on.
let me know what motivates you. Just kind of type it out there. Let me know what motivates you.
You were talking to Chuck.
People ask me sometimes, what are some of your greatest motivators? What motivates you? And to their shock, most of the time I tell people memories. The memory of where I was and not wanting to ever go back to that place, economically, spiritually, locale. If you're going to be motivated, just glance back through your memory of where you are and say, I had better do something now because I refuse to go back to
You were talking to Chuck.
Hey, Sister
You forgot.
Quentin Collins, no, I will not. I saw your comment. I don't have a service Friday.
I'll tell you after. It doesn't matter.
I hope you have a great time in the city.
We got our affirmations twice today.
You?
That could be a good thing, though.
Think about that.
Everything
what motivates you? Who
there
motivates
are no
you?
coincidences.
Stay connected to who motivates you. Even if you got to tell them, hey, I just want to buy you some lunch today. Just sit down. And you might do 2% of the talking. All you want to do is hear them talk. You just want to hear them release out of the depth and the wells of their experience, their knowledge, their expertise. Stay connected to people who motivate you. Motivation requires that you have this mental picture. How do you see yourself? Where do you see yourself? And stay connected to your source of motivation. Don't let anybody distract you from them. It's not that you're running behind them, but you got to. The prophet Elisha ran behind Elijah. And even when he told him to go back home, he said, oh, no, I can't go back home. I got to be wherever you are in order to get this impartation and to get this release. So I hope this segment has has motivated you today. I hope you were really, really blessed by this. We're getting ready to go back on air, so I'll talk to you later. Okay, bye.
We are, okay. Y'all, we have new breaks and stuff, so we're trying to like learn them together and new segments. And so Lee was like, I can't tell Lee's business because we were only playing the affirmations once a day, but he played it twice, and then there was a tag that was supposed to go before each entrance. Anyway, long story short, we are laughing over here because we're all getting. Oh, I'm reading. Somebody text me. We're all getting to know the new segments and the new stuff. Yeah, I got distracted. But nonetheless. Let's be clear. Clearly. Maybe this one is hazy. I must have angels around me or something. What do you think? Lord, please help us for this segment. Amen. Good morning, good morning, good morning, and welcome to The Good Life with me, Eileen. We are here on Motivation Monday, and we're here to open your mind. We are living the good life right here, so make sure you tune in each and every day while we open your mind to living differently in the world with love, tolerance, compassion, and understanding for ourselves and hopefully everyone else. Make sure you tune in. We are here, and I'm really excited about this segment because I literally have no idea how it's going to go or where it's going to go or anything, but it is a brand new segment. If y'all didn't know, we were under construction last week, so we have a lot of new fun things going on. We will have our daily affirmations. If you're like, what was that? The week before last, we talked, one of our segments was affirmations and, changing your thought process and changing your mind to new things and how to begin that process. Well, one of those processes is your daily affirmation. So we're giving you a couple affirmations that are in correspondence to, or relationship, I should say, to the theme of the day. So Motivation Monday will have a little bit of money and involved in it, and taking care of yourself and being motivated. Relationship Tuesday, and on and on and on. Y'all will get it as the week goes through. But it's just like to let it pour into your spirit, your soul, and your consciousness so you can open your mind to new things. And with that being said, opening your mind to new things, Henry Bolin was brought into my life divinely about 2 years ago.
Yes.
20 years ago? Yeah, because that was when I first converted.
It's almost our anniversary.
When I first converted. Yeah, it was like February, I think. Mm-hmm. And I converted, and I was saved, and I was, true story, wow, I don't know if, okay, it'll just be true story, just me telling. I was having all of these experiences, and I was knowing things that I probably shouldn't know. I was literally being woken up at 3:33 every morning, not in mid-morning. And that happened this has been like a process of a couple years. Yeah. And then it was like at 4:44. And I was like, what is the deal? What is going on? I had just supernatural things that I couldn't explain. I didn't really have this conversation because people think I'm crazy. And I really started to feel like, I was like, I'm weird. And I was like, I'd have dreams where I'm like, I clearly just talked to God. I clearly just had a conversation. I would know that I had a conversation and know that I had and cried. And I'd wake up with tears down my eyes. I'm like, that wasn't a joke because that really happened. Yeah. Or I'd go out places and somebody would stop me and have a prophetic message for me. And I'm like, what are you talking? I had people come out in and out. It's very interesting. And I will say this, I know this isn't falling on deaf ears because I know there's somebody else out there, actually more than one person, who are going through these things. There are a lot of shifts that are going on in the world, and a lot of people are opening up to their divine gifts given by God. And I'm one of those people. I know that there are lots of other people out there. And so I want you to know that you are not weird, and you're actually very, very normal. And so long story short, I reached out to Bishop R.C. Blakes. And when he called me back, true story, I was standing outside of the Superdome. I was taking Aiden to something, and I just gave him the money, and he was in line. I pulled to the side, and he was like, you're not crazy. You're not alone. There's lots of people. And he's like, I'm actually starting this prophetic series at church. Why don't you come? And I literally like broke out into tears standing in front of the Superdome. And he's like, you're going to be okay. You're okay. So I went to the first prophetic meeting, and the funny thing is he was stuck out of town because there was a blizzard wherever he was, so he could not do the message. And I was like, this is my first time coming, and he's not even here. And I was just like, oh gosh, that's how I thought. That's what I felt. And then Henry got up on stage and delivered a message. She saw me walk out. She was like, oh man. And I was like, I can rock with him. I was like, he's cool. I was like, he clearly knows what he's talking about and is clearly prophetic as well. And so when you're in a walk like this, it's definitely different, and you just like to know that you're not alone.
Right. So
FYI, y'all are not alone. And so this conversation has come up because I was supposed to do this since May of last year, I guess. God was like, I want you to talk about this. And I was like, God, don't really want to put myself on blast. But I've had Bishop Love on air with me before, and he was like, yeah, she's prophetic. And I was like, shh, don't tell me about it. Like, we don't have to have this conversation. And he's like, no, look, you see it all over you. And then I had gone to Chief Apostle Lucas's church, and, he has, people sitting certain out. He's like, Eileen, come sit up here. I was like, He's like, Eileen.
Yeah.
He's like, this is your process. He's like, you don't even know who you are yet. And I was like, okay.
Yeah.
So with all that being said, there are no coincidences, and Henry and I are here, and I would love because obviously he's been on this walk longer than me, and that's why I feel comfortable on the air with him talking about it. So Henry, what do you understand it to be, prophetically speaking, I guess?
Wow, that's a loaded question.
I know it is.
4 minutes.
Okay. I know. I took all the time. We have to fix that.
We'll give you a snippet this week, and then
58. Go ahead. Okay. 59. Go ahead.
So one thing that was revealed, she wasn't happy to see me walk out on that stage that day. So that's in my memory now. I got to work to get that out. Well, to walk in the prophetic, I mean, it can make you feel, for the majority of your walk, you feel isolated because there are people who reject it. And then on the other end of the pendulum, there are people who resent it. And then you have a very small segment of people that will receive it. Generally, people don't receive it because... number one, of how acquainted they are with your past, how informed they are of your history. Generally it's hard for people to perceive you as anything other than how they met you. Mm-hmm. And people generally tend to think that you're always going to be who you always were, whatever that was. He preaching now? She doing this now?
Right.
Right. Nobody can remember you. You forgot the stuff, but they got it. It's like They got a record that she bought the bar out that time. I remember she did this. And so there's
I'm clearly different.
Yeah,
from 3 years ago till
absolutely.
Today.
But there are some people that will never make that demarcation. They will never let you step out from being who you are. But that's why the Bible was clear that if any man be in Christ, he is absolutely a brand new creature. My history has no bearing over my destiny. In fact, God knew what I was going to do, when I was going to do it, who I was going to do it with. And in spite of that, because God doesn't waste any of your experiences. Mm-hmm. If he let you experience it in your past, then it was going to be beneficial in your future. And so particularly for those who operate in prophetic gifts, because, you could be from a child and you'll see things so vividly. You'll hear the voices. I could see what people had on. I could smell the cologne in the room. You see these things so vividly, and you can't articulate it without anybody saying, oh, he crazy.
Right.
the kid is skirting on the deep edge.
Right.
When you understand that the Bible even teaches us that God does nothing in the earthly realm unless he first reveals his secrets to the prophets. And so there are some things that God will say to you that nobody else is privy to. And if they reject the vessel that is coming from, then they're going to miss out on what was intended to be a miraculous move for them or a blessing. Mm-hmm. And so to walk in this
it's humbling
prophetic walk, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
And it keeps you, you should be automatic just praying, praying because you never want to impose your will or your vision or what you think on what God is trying to show you. You have to be a clean enough vessel, clear of the clutter, so that whatever God reveals to you, you can release it to people without any of you added.
Right. I pray for discernment all the time.
Yeah. Don't add anything. The Bible says don't add a jot, don't add a tittle. Mm-mm. Say what I told you to say. Speak what I told you to speak. And and hear me, everybody walks in the prophetic. When he stops speaking, you stop speaking.
Clearly, yes. And I'm going to make you laugh. Because there have been times where I've been told to tell people stuff. Mm-hmm. And like, say I didn't do it fast enough. I am not, i.e. allowed to sleep. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm going to wake you up. I'm going to keep you up until you do what I asked you to do. It's like it is a parent-child relationship. Oh, yeah. And now I'm clear. I'm much quicker when I'm required to do something. But and it's never anything, obviously. It's always for our good. And it's to help someone. Yeah. And so now I know I'm much more attuned to it. And I'm much better than I've ever been. But when you're required to do something, you're required to say something, you need to do it. Yeah. And so it's funny. I was at an Ace hardware store with my friend one time, and so I was leaving, and God told me to tell the cashier that she was going to be okay, and I was like, and so I walked out and got in the car, and I was like, okay, fine, and so I went back and I touched her hand. I was like, God said everything's going to be okay, and she just looked at me and she started crying, and I was just like, okay, have a great day, and she's like, she just looked at me and she's like, I know, she knew what I was talking about. So it's definitely a humbling walk, and it's we're all chosen to do something, and we're all a piece of it. Mm-hmm. Just like when we're some people are the eyes, the prophets, the hands, this, that, and the other. Everybody has a different piece, and if we all use that and work together, what a good life we can all live.
Absolutely.
So, Henry,
well,
it's
huge.
First time I'm talking about it.
And I think that's astounding. Personally knowing where you were and how you started and when it started unfolding and when you start sensing
help. Because and I will say this, it's different. And maybe this will just have to be every Monday until I think it'll have to be every Monday because there's so much to talk about. Yeah. Because it's different and you are received different when you are in the church.
Yes. Yes.
If you have a prophetic gift, whether it's wisdom, knowledge, prophecy, gift of tongues, or any of them, it's not seen the same if it's outside the church because God doesn't just give these gifts to people who are in the church. Mm-hmm. It's usually the people who you least expect. Of all of the people in family, I am probably not the one that people thought was going to get the prophetic gift from God. And my brother-in-law used to mess with me before, they kind of really knew what was going on. He'd be like, Eileen, you're holy rolling out. And I was like, I take that as a compliment. Mm-hmm. Why, yes, I am. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? But, and I think maybe by it being me and coming from I'm bringing down some of the ideas of what you thought that it was. Mm-hmm. And so hopefully that's a little bit about what this segment will bring to you. Yeah. It will break down the barriers of misunderstandings that you may have in the past so that we can open our mind to living differently in the world. Absolutely. So if you were wondering what my path has been about, I tell everything else, and this was the last one, and it's funny because I was sitting in an office downstairs the week before last, and someone out of the blue was like, so when are you going to start your prophetic journey? And I just looked, and I was like, where'd that come from? And he's like, I don't know, that wasn't even on my mind. He's like, that was God. And I was like, I know. And so here we are, God, we're doing it. And so it is so much easier to surrender and do what he wants you to do because it will work out for the best. So I am doing it. I hope each and every one of you does it as well. It's a good life, y'all. Thanks so much for tuning in. And yes, we'll do Prophetically Speaking every Monday every Monday with Henry Bolden. So we're going to reel him into it because he's stuck. Thanks so much for tuning in. It's The Good Life, y'all. I'm out. Oh my gosh, I don't believe I just said that to all those people.
It's out now. People are posting quotes from the show.
Hey y'all, thanks for tuning in. I appreciate each and every one of you for all that you do and for, sticking with us. It is definitely a journey, and I'm glad that each and every one of you are along for the ride with us. Thanks so much for tuning in. We're out.
Bye.
Okay, thanks so much for tuning in. We appreciate each and every one of you. Walk into your journey. I don't know what it is, but embrace it and live your good life. Thanks, y'all. We're out.